people today. They could spend half their lives over 50. That's a lot of living. So it helps to have a wise friend and fierce defender in your corner. A friend like AARP. So your health lives longer.
This is just slow-mo karate?
Just slow-mo karate.
Your money lives longer.
I just bought that.
I just sold that.
And your happiness lives longer. That's why the younger you are, the more you need AARP. Join today.
Welcome to AARP Illinois' virtual event. It's so wonderful to have you with us. AARP is on a mission to connect with individuals across various communities, especially those aged 50 and above. We're here to listen, understand, and address the unique needs of you and your community as we age. Our goal is to enrich your experience by expanding our local activities, providing opportunities for you to discover and engage with all that life has to offer right here in your own community and virtually. As we journey through today's event, we invite you to consider joining our dedicated team of AARP volunteers. It's a chance to make a meaningful impact and help us better serve those 50 plus across the nation. Connect with us and be a part of this vibrant movement toward positive change. Welcome, and let's make this event both fun and transformative.
Greetings. I'm Rick Planos. I'm a proud volunteer for AARP Illinois. And like many of you, I'm an amateur photographer who's always trying to learn how to do it better. I've always enjoyed taking pictures. I've always had my challenges with good and bad photos. And today there are all kinds of better tools to use and digital tools. And most of them are set up for people that are beginners like me. So today I'm going to share with you some of those ideas, and hopefully we can learn together some better techniques to make great pictures. Next slide. So digital photography. Digital photography is not something to be afraid of. It is basically photos that do not use negatives. So in the olden days, when you had that Kodak Instamatic or that single lens reflex camera, you had to have film in it. The film had to go to Photomat to get developed. You had to wait. Now it's much faster, easier, and cheaper with digital tools that literally capture the image immediately, and with electronics. You can have thousands of photos in your camera. You can carry them with your iPad or your digital device wherever you go, unlike having to have big, heavy scrapbooks and wait a week to get your pictures back. So the other great thing about digital photography is you can tweak it afterwards. So unlike if you're in a family like mine where everybody blinks, you can take 10 shots and pick out one where nobody's blinking. You can also go in after the fact and correct that flash that went wrong or didn't go off. You can touch things up, and we're going to talk about that later in the presentation. Next slide. Digital photos come in two basic formats, okay? Almost every cell phone today has a camera built in, and they take pictures wherever you are, so it's really handy. You don't have to remember to bring your camera anywhere. But there are also point-and-shoot cameras and sophisticated cameras that also use digital technology. So almost everyone uses digital today versus film, but you can do it on a basic format with a camera and a phone, or you can do it very sophisticated with additional lenses and all kinds of add-ons and flashes with a full-service camera, but that also uses digital techniques. Next slide. DSLR actually means digital single lens reflex, okay? Those are cameras that have a mirror inside that flips the image and puts it through various mechanisms in the camera that enhance it, so it's a little bit more sophisticated than what you're going to do with your phone. A mirrorless camera is a better version of that, okay? They are lighter, but because they do not flip the image, the image is distorted a lot less than it is in a DSLR. Okay. Both of these are far more sophisticated than what most phone cameras will do. But if you are a purist, if you are someone that really likes to do everything with a lot of detail, these are great ways to do it. You can adjust all the settings. You can do everything manually that in most cases, the camera in your phone will do automatically. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of those things later in the presentation. But just so you know, you can have it both ways. You can have it sophisticated or simple. Next slide. The settings on the camera are fairly basic, and they're the same as in the olden days with a film camera. You can change the exposure, you can change the focus, you can change the white balance, which adjusts the color or the brightness of it. Focus, in some cases, you want the image to be focused and not the background, or vice versa, depending on how artistic you want. You can have it take something fast if you're doing a sports activity, or do something slow if you want movement in it. All those things can be adjusted, and those are all things you can also do automatically. It's your choice, depending on how sophisticated you want to be. But for most of us, you don't have to worry about those things because most cameras will adjust for you or give you the choice to turn off the adjustments. Next slide. So some design basics for when you are taking pictures, things that are real simple to keep in mind. First of all, the rule of thirds. Okay, most artists will tell you that having your pictures divided by 9 different grids is the best way to go. Most camera phones, any kind of electronic camera will have an option where you can put that grid on your phone. I have that set up so it's always there. And it kind of reminds me that having something in the center square is not usually ideal. I know that kind of goes against what most of us are thinking, but most better pictures have the point of interest in one of the outer squares and not smack dab in the middle. So in this picture we're looking at here in this slide, you can see really the high point of the picture is the sun. It's not really in the middle. It's upper from the middle. Okay. So I always like having that grid because I can line myself up appropriately and say, okay, well, even though I'm thinking middle is best, having it off to the side makes it a little more artistic. Okay. Also, the lines. Okay. In this situation, you can see that the train tracks actually kind of draw you towards the sun. And in some cases, those wires overhead also kind of point you towards the sun. So both of those things are leading you to the point of interest in the picture. That's what makes this a great picture. That and the lighting really, makes it interesting. The framing here also, the difference between the sky and the skyline, the simplicity because the skyline is dark and all you're really seeing is the outline. All of those things combine to make a great picture. And those are good things to keep in mind when you're taking any kind of picture. Composition is important, and that's one thing that is tough to change after the fact. Next slide. The other thing to keep in mind, and probably the thing that drives most of us nuts, is lighting, okay? Either it's too bright, it's too dark, it's the wrong kind of light. People are blinking in the flash, whatever. Lighting is tough. A couple things to remember. First of all, I'll tell you, I almost always avoid using a flash, okay? Today, with the sophistication on most camera phones, you can get good lighting without a flash. And you avoid having that weird eye effect that people get when the flash reflects off their eyes. You get less blinking. It's just a lot easier, okay? So I try to avoid a flash. And if at all possible, if you're taking a family shot or a headshot or something like that, do it outside. You're going to always be better with natural light. And one thing that people are kind of surprised to find out is that in natural light, you're better off to do it on a cloudy day at sunrise or sunset than you are at high noon. Okay, having a clear day with no clouds at high noon will be a boring picture in most cases. There's something it does to the atmosphere and doesn't make it quite as interesting as a day where there's some activity in the sky. So try outside if you can. If you can't, take a couple different pictures, a couple different angles, and you can always adjust after the fact. And we're going to show you that in a little bit. The other thing to keep in mind with lighting is that you want the lighting behind you if you're the photographer and lighting into your face if you're the subject. Okay, a lot of people don't understand that. And it's the same thing is true when you're doing a Zoom call or a conference call or a video call of any type. You want the light coming to your face to light your face, not shining directly into wherever the camera is. If the camera is your computer screen or your cell phone, it's not going to work quite as well. So think about the lighting and remember that there are ways to adjust it afterwards. Look at the clouds, shadows that you might have on somebody's face. Those are usually the things that will throw a picture off. But we'll show you some tricks to do after the fact if that is a problem. Some other tips, basic tips for great pictures. Set your phone down. Don't hold it in your hand. Okay, a lot of phones come with holders in the back or easel type things. You can lean them up against a book. But having the phone set down and not in your hands, you're going to be much more likely to get a squared off picture and much more stable. Okay, if it's questionable lighting and the lens has to stay open longer, it's not going to pick up the movement in your hand. You'll also find in many cases that cameras today have a remote way to set off the exposure. You might be able to do it on your watch. You might be able to do it with a clicker. A lot of them have timers. Doing that will also make for a much better picture. The less your hand is involved, the less variety you're going to have in terms of focus or anything like that. The other thing is take that shot, if it's an important shot, in several different angles. If you're looking for a new headshot for your LinkedIn profile or you're looking for a graduation picture or something that's important, take it from several different ways. I know for me, sometimes the picture comes back, looks entirely different than what it looked like to me when it was live. Okay, the colors, the lighting, it just interprets it differently. So taking a couple different angles is always a good thing. And you can do that easily by setting your camera down on something. You don't have to carry a tripod with you. That's great if you want to, but there are all kinds of other ways to just set your camera down and have it take the picture without the vibration from your hand. Some other tips. Look at the background. Okay, is the background the interest or is it what's in the foreground? Is the background something that you want sharp or is the background something that you're okay with blurry? There are ways to set that up, and sometimes they make a huge difference in the quality of the picture. I know when I'm taking a landscape shot, I try to get it wider than normal because I know I can crop it later, but I can't go back and add things that I've cut out if I've taken it up too close. So I know I always leave a little extra room there so that I can go back and tighten it up or straighten it out if I didn't get it on the right angle. Taking multiple shots, again, you can do that yourself. Many cameras are set in burst mode. There's some that will automatically take 10 shots every time, rapidly after each other. And if you're like me and your family are blinkers, that's a really nice trick to have. So you might want to try that as well, especially since now that we're not paying to develop the pictures, as long as we remember to go back and delete them, having those burst shots allows you to pick the best one of those 10. So those are both great tips to use, especially on those vacation pictures. Editing. Okay, so unlike the olden days, now, even without a darkroom, you can edit pictures yourself. Okay. Most photo settings on your phone have some kind of basic editing built in. You can adjust the lighting, the shadows. Some have a magic wand that you can click that will automatically balance all of those things. Or if you're a sophisticated user, you might use Adobe Photoshop or some other kind of software program that allows you to really tweak each individual thing. I know even on my phone, I can adjust the color balance, the brightness, I can reduce the shadows, increase the shadows, all very simply. And I'm not that sophisticated of an editor. So there are lots of things that you can do yourself to fix that picture if it's not perfect, but you really like the image. You just know if you could get it a little brighter or a little darker or whatever, you can fix that. You can even fix that red eye effect you get from a flash. Again, like I said, I try to avoid a flash, but if it's a situation where you have to use a flash, you can go back and fix that. You can also go and actually take people out of the picture without a lot of difficulty these days. There are amazing tools out there that allow you to click on something and it'll show you the outline and let you just take a person out of the picture completely. But those are all probably in our more advanced class, and this one is just for people like me that are beginners. Next slide. Exercise, okay? It's important to practice, okay? If you know you're going on vacation, go out and take a bunch of different images of landscapes and outdoor scenes and play with the different settings in your camera. Play with it with the grid on and the grid off. Play with different lighting settings. Sometimes they have night settings and day settings and those kind of things built in. But practice. If you take 10 of the same picture in different ways, you'll learn what works best for you. And many times you can set your camera to have those settings in place all the time. Okay. But by practicing, you'll get to know what's really good. Okay. Same thing with people shots. Okay. If you take, your kids out or, your spouse and take pictures of that person in several different lighting, you'll learn what works best. Okay. You'll learn what really is your sweet spot or what kind of picture you like. And then you can just repeat that and repeat those settings. So I know for me, I always seem to have the pictures crooked, and I know I can go back into the edit and hit the crop button and it will automatically square it off for me because that's something my body must not do that automatically or something. But practice makes perfect. And again, it's cheap now that you don't have to pay to have each picture developed. So you can really get down to what makes it good for you. If there's any questions, there are all kinds of tools out there to use. There are a wealth of tools on the AARP website. You can look up all kinds of advanced tips. There are classes that are offered on Senior Planet about how to do photos better. There are classes on editing where you can learn how to do sophisticated editing, much more than what we covered today for beginners. And this is just a way for you to get started. I thank you for your time. Again, my name's Rick Planos. I am a volunteer